Okay, so this is the main incoming supply from the DNO. Comes into the main head, your main meter for your buildings in there. We then run some, I think they're 240mm tails through the trunking, which then goes to a main isolator here. So if you ever needed to isolate the whole building, in the case of an emergency, this is where you come. Turn that and you go off. Okay, so from the main isolator, that armour then comes up here, feeds this panel board. From the panel board, it goes out to all your distribution boards on site. If an MCB in here, or MCCB in here trips, I would speak to an electrician before you think about re-isolating, because something catastrophic maybe has gone on, or something that needs looking into. You've got 3 meters at the top. I think one's mechanical board, and then you've got lift supply 1 and lift supply 2. And that's it. Okay, so I've just come to the plant room board, or the board that's in the bin store for the ground floor, because it was just an easier location. There's quite a lot of information on these boards now. So every circuit is labelled up individually, obviously with stickers, but they're also on our board chart as well. So if the stickers ever come off, you can find the references for what they are on here. You've got a surge protected device at the front end. You've got an individual meter to tell you what that's obviously what each board's pulling. Your green lights are AFDDs, so those are like arc fault detection devices. Your ones with the blue dots are your RCBOs, which is pretty much everything else. You are meant to test the RCBOs every 6 months. Just by pressing the red button, so the blue button, making sure everything trips, and then just reset them. So the main switch goes off. I would probably recommend calling somebody, because that would be another kind of major reason. If you lose power in a room or lighting in a room on this ground floor, or in fact I think this is ground, it's lower ground and first it feeds, but it will tell you on there anyway which ones they feed. One of these will go off, and obviously if it's an AFDD, the green light will have gone off. You need to kind of investigate why that's gone off before you just come in and turn it back on, because something could have happened. So visit the room or visit the location of where that's gone. Just double check. It could just be a fact that a light's blown. If everything's clear, come back here, reset the breaker. If it holds, everything's fine. If it doesn't hold, then obviously you need to call an electrician.
Okay, so this is the CCTV system. There is 19 cameras on the Drey, 10 cameras on Courtfield. You'll have 2 little icons over here in the top left. One's the Drey, one's Courtfield. If you double click on Courtfield, give it a second, it will load all of the Courtfield cameras, and then same again, double click the Drey and it will load all of the Drey cameras up. So just double clicking on any camera you want, that will bring up a big image. It's a live image now. Double click again, goes back off, double click, choose another image, double click, back to the multi-screen. At the bottom right here, there's a window division. So if you click on that, you can choose how many you want to view at a time, but because there's 19 cameras, we just leave it on 25. And that's the best view you can have. For playback, in the top left up here, if you want to zoom in on that, there's a little 4 icon there. You click on that, you'll open this page, and then you go to remote playback. You can choose obviously the Drey or the Court, whichever one you want. You can then choose the camera you want to look at. So let's choose this one for instance. You double click that, that will load in that screen. You can then go to at the top here, click on that, and you can choose your start day an end day. You can go back. The recording at the moment goes back to, it looks like November, so there's several months worth of recording. But if we choose March the 5th start date, March the 5th end date, and then we can choose our time. So here is midnight, and then here I will choose midnight, 5 past, and OK. So that's 5 minutes of recording I'm trying to download. So if you go to the bottom here and press the scissors, again, choose your start time. So it's going to be midnight, and then the end time is going to be 5 past midnight, which you've chose. You can then give it a name of your choosing. We'll do test for now. You can also leave that ticked, and that'll download the media player for you to view it. You press OK. So that says downloading complete now. If you're choosing a big file, i.e. let's say an hour, it could take a few minutes to download. You've just got to wait till it says it's downloaded. But once it's downloaded, if you just minimise the screen, and then I have set up a little folder, CCTV video, click onto that, and then you will see test pop up. Click on test, and you've got an image, it takes a picture, and then you've got the video. So just double click on the video, and there you go, it starts playing. You could then put your USB in and download the footage onto the USB to give to whoever needs it. Okay, and yeah, that's it. And then you can either leave it on here, or for now we will delete this one.
So if the fire alarm goes into full evacuation, which will mean all the sounders are going off, the display will show what zone's gone into fire. That will tally up with the zone chart up here, so you'll be able to see that area that's gone off. If you press right arrow on the fire alarm panel, you'll be able to see exactly what device has gone off. Do not silence the panel until you confirm that there's not a real fire. Once you confirm that, you can press silence. Once you confirm there's no smoke or anything going to set the fire alarm panel off again, you can press reset, and the panel should go back to healthy. So if you come to the panel and there's any orange lights on it, that will mean there's either a disablement or a fault. At the moment on this panel, if you scroll along, you can see there's a fault in room A311, which is the bathroom. If you scroll along even further, you can see it's a sounder. This isn't something you'll be able to fix yourself, so you'd need to get your maintenance team out to have a look and fix the panel. If you've got a fault on the fire alarm and you need to disable it, you can press the right arrow to scroll along, and you can see it's zone 9. You'd then press the menu button, go up to disable, disable inputs, and then you can scroll down to zone 9. You can scroll along to zone 9, scroll along to the enable, and if you press tick, it will come up saying disable all inputs, which will be yes, and then that zone's disabled. Right, so if you're doing your weekly test, you lift this flap, you'd press this glass in, a red light will come here, all the sounders would go off in the building, you'd put the key in, twist it clockwise, you'll feel the glass pop back out, and then you'd go back to the panel, press silence and reset, and that's the key you'd use. So this is the refuge call point. If anyone presses it, a red light will come on here, and the phone will be ringing at the main office. This has got a microphone and everything in it, so they can speak back. So you come back, this is the main refuge panel. You can see number 2's
flashing, which is the ground floor. You can pick up the handset. To answer it, you press the button. You can speak to the people at the other end, make sure they're okay. If they need help, you go and get help. And to reset it, you put the phone back down.
Okay, well you've got the plant room. This is doing your hot water. You've got pressurisation unit down the back, 2 hot water cylinders, buffer vessel. I mean, unless you want to follow me down there, I can show you all that, but it all comes back to this. So if there's any faults, you're written on there. Pressurisation, that is what took the pumps out before. There wasn't enough pressure in the pipe, so you didn't want the pumps to run dry. The fire alarm is pretty self-explanatory. Safety circuit would be your emergency stop, or there is some stats that would be part of the safety circuits as well. Your VRF system here is that controller that does all the hydro boxes for the hot water. They feed into the cylinders. So if there's a fault on that, you're looking at that and the Samsung page. So on the screen here, you have a Samsung page. This gives you all the room numbers, the hydro boxes of the hot water feed, basically from the air source heat pumps to these cylinders. So you've got client vision, IQ client vision. When you double click that, it will open you up onto this page here. This will bring you to the home page, fire alarm status, basically mirroring what's on the front. Also giving you some temperatures. This is your hot water. Flow temperatures coming from the hydro boxes. So if that's down, you know there's a problem with the hydros. Water tanks, information for that is on here. And then you have a map of each floor. So this is your hot water system. This is everything inside this plant room. 2 cylinders next to me, these big ones. And then you've got your storage tank there, which is the red one down the end. These are your 2 temperatures coming from the hydro boxes. They feed the storage tank and then they heat up the hot water. Your hot water out temperature isn't on there at the moment. Bit of a work in progress this side. It's all your sprinkler stuff down there. I don't really control that, but that's where it is. Incoming electricity mains behind me. So you've got your mains coming in here. This is a big panel board that feeds out to all the different boards. You've got one there and then they're dotted on each floor. So here you'll see ground floor, first floor, second floor. So if there's a problem with any dB, it'll all come back to here. Electric meter readings are via the BMS, so you'll be able to see them on the screen. So you won't have to come behind here to read anything. It should all just be on the screen. Hello, in Barkston plant room, ground floor in the basement. This is the main control panel for the BMS. Any red lights you see, again, it's indication to that piece of kit. At the minute it's all running nice and smooth. It says VRF under here, but obviously that's just made it easier for, that's that Samsung kit. That does all your AC. Again, it's just the interface between this and the Samsung kit. These 2 pumps on here, A and B, are pump A and B in here. Your pressurisation unit is round the corner in here as well, the blue thing on the wall. If that drops pressure, the pumps will drop. The immersion heaters in each cylinder, they're a backup of the hot water. So if your hydro boxes, if this goes into fault for any reason, if you've got a fault light on there, you need to open this up. The key's up there hanging. Then we've got the computer. It should be pretty much always left on these pages anyway. So if there was a fault on here, if that red light was on, it would be one of these. Now that's all your rooms, heating and cooling. And then you get down to the hydro boxes, which is your hot water. So they're all kicking out 75, 76. They're all working nice Nice as we want them to. Water conditioner and trace heating is round in the cold water side, these two. They're to do with the cold water tanks, along with the cold water booster. So if you lose cold water to the taps, if you lose any water to the taps, that's probably your issue. And these are the levels of the tank, indications for whether it's too much or too little in there. These two heat recovery units, they are fitted, but there's no control function for us. So they're non-existent at the moment. So they just work standalone bits of kit that are in the rooms. We've got no control over them. With any fault on this board, on this panel, you can go up onto the screen, onto the BMS. That would indicate, that gives you an indication of the stuff on the roof. So we'll get up to that in a minute and you'll see why that's off. But green light, you should see all the time, just indicates that the vents are running. At the minute, all vents are off for whatever reason. This is your hot water. This is this room that we stood in, essentially, the plant room. That's that twin pump I was showing you. This return pump here is this one right above my head. That's from the taps. That's the returning from the taps. So that temperature there is what temperature you have at the hot water taps, 58.2. And then you've got your storage vessel coming out from your hydro boxes, feeding the hot water is 75 degrees. And then you've got indications of each tank. Now, if you click on these sensors, you get a graph, so you'll be able to see the lowest temperature. If there's been any faults on anything, you'll see. So it's dropped down to 25. You can do that for, where is it? Do year to date. $35 in March. I think we're still working in then. Yeah, that's same for every one of these. You should be able to get a graph off them all.
Great.
And then floor select. This is just indications of room temperatures. So each room, so that essentially you can view faults on here. You can view all the information on here, but if you want to know what the temperature of the room is, you can see all that in here. Water tanks. There's your temperature of each one. Green's usually good. And then home page. So there's a frost protection. If it gets below 4 degrees, even in the summer, if there's it for any reason, or in the winter I assume, below 4 degrees for any reason, it will start heating up, stop it freezing, stop the pipes freezing. And then you've got electricity meter readings here. That's everything. Just a quick one on the air conditioning. So if you click on any room, you can change any setting within the room. You can enable or disable the remote controller. And then they're all set at 11 o'clock to revert to 19 degrees. So regardless of what's being asked in the room, it will at 11 o'clock go to 19 degrees. That's in an energy saving, to save energy.
We're standing outside the valve room on the basement level. The pipe work we've got in the right hand here is pipe work for the fire brigade breaching inlet. So what it means is when the fire brigade come, if there is a fire, heaven forbid, then they breach onto that unit there at the top in the box, and they can put water in as well as using their fire pumps. That's what this pipe work's about. Okay, what we've got here, 2 incoming feeds off the town's water main, 2 80mm feeds off the town's water main. So the 2 feeds feed the lot. The valves in the positions that are shown at the moment are where they should be after we've done testing. But This is for the feed out to the breaching outlet for fire brigade, okay? So this one, again, if you notice, that's across the valve. That's across the valve. This one is with the valve. So that needs to be left open. When they're with the valve, it's open. When they're across the valve, it's closed. Yeah? Okay? These are open, left open anyway. Yes. Okay? Somebody's rubbish. Right, we've got 2 valve sets. Again, if you notice the valves are in line, that's the live one. Yeah? Across, closed. Okay? You'll note that there's no pressure on it. Okay, yeah? So what we've got here is, again, the valves are monitored. So they should go back to a panel, you can tell by the wires. And we have a flow switch at the back. Yeah? The flow switch at the back there.
Just point that out to me again.
The flow switch is at the back here.
That red box?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Okay. So it's the same on both, the replicas. What this is for, because this is open, this is the main one. Now, whoever your sprinkler contractor is for maintenance, they will come and see that that's your main one. This is your spare. What you do is open this when you're doing any maintenance on that and close these 2 valves here. What that means is you've always got water on to your hotel. Yeah? It's exactly the same in the other pump room or the other plant room that we've got downstairs by the boilers. Yeah? Okay. So what we've got now is a test valve. We need to flow water, which rings the bell. So we're going to do that now. There's the water going there. So we've lifted that up. It's in the upright position. If I can get it past that, watch it. We go outside, put your head, and it takes a while to lift up. It's relevant to the amount of time you leave the water running because it has to lift that clack. Because the building's so high, 14, 15 metres, it'll take a little bit longer than a normal sprinkler system because it has to compensate for that, the amount of pressure you've got in head pressure above. Yeah? So the longer you leave it, the more it will go off. Sprinkler stop valve inside. Open. Pull it forward. This is a zone check arrangement. Circulating pump, isolation valve for the sprinklers. Key switch box is at this level here. You can see just inside. Okay. Now we go to self-test. So what we do, insert the key. I should have left it in. Turn it to the right. Pump starts, you can hear it. Signal, get a red signal. That shows you've got a signal on your panel. Now it's not working because we've got it isolated, but then all we do is turn it off. That's it. So the lights go out and then you reset your panel or whatever.